All right, man. Wow. First of all, welcome to Suited and Booted. I'm your host, Jerome. To my right is Mr.
JBD.
JBD.
Where are we?
We are at the brand spanking new, beautiful home of the Matildas out here in Bundoora. Special thanks to Dan from Football Victoria for setting this up. And we have a very special guest today.
Brave man.
A brave man.
Don't tell him
that off the rip. He's probably shitting himself.
No, he said he wasn't. Not at all.
He's dealt, man. He's the ref of the year.
Yeah.
Okay?
Literally.
He's dealt with things. Alex King, how are you, mate?
Good.
Bravo,
Feeling
Alex.
good.
Bravo to
Yeah.
be here, mate.
Yes.
This is a pleasure.
Yeah.
This is a pleasure.
Good to be here.
I guess we'll jump straight into it. You're a referee. It is one of the hardest jobs in football. It is also the most thankless job in football. I'm sure you're sick of this question, but our listeners need to know, why did you want to become a referee and where did it all start? And tell me about that weird Death Island.
Yeah, okay. So, like most referees, we don't get like a choice. If I could have been a professional footballer, I would have way preferred to have been a professional footballer.
Yep.
Fortunately, I wasn't that good. So, yeah, brought up on a island in Queensland called Bribey Island. It's connected by a bridge, also known as God's Waiting Room.
Oh my God.
I'm not.
Yeah, a lot of old people. So yeah, that's where it all started. When I was 13, I started doing like how it used to be big pitch from like 11 on.
Oh, yep.
Yep.
So, Mum and Dad were the president down at the local Bribey Island Tigers football club. And so I used to go down on a Saturday morning and be in black, and I'd go and do like the under sixes to the nines because it was a little bit of a different field.
Yeah.
And used to just get paid in canteen vouchers, which was, that was gold
many
currency
hot
back
dogs?
in the day.
How many hot dogs is that per
No,
game?
that was the thing. There was no, it was either pies or sausage rolls. They didn't have a deep fryer, so there's no,
It's the Queensland.
this is right old, man. We weren't that advanced.
Yeah,
Didn't have the
probably
deep
old,
fryers.
Wait, so how old are you at this point when you started refereeing? Because what's a relatively normal age for people to either transition into refereeing or think that now's the time to start? Because I feel like you experience when you're playing, particularly as you get a bit older, you experience some referees that are in there sort of struggling to get around the field, but you get some guys that are younger than you refereeing as well.
Yeah.
So there's a real sort of big disparate sort of gap in age.
Yeah. So, I started at 13 just because for some reason it was just like, it was just something different about the game. And I was like, it's something else. Like, I love football. Like, I've never been to an NRL game. I've never been to an AFL game.
Really?
I've been to the cricket because it's good down to piss with your mates and stuff. But
And you're from Queensland.
I'm
You've
from
never been to
Queensland,
the
man.
NRL?
Yeah, it does not interest me. So,
Wow.
it was always football. My dad's English.
Yep.
Avid Leeds supporter, unfortunately. It's been a few hard years for us, yeah. But it's always been football, and then with refereeing, I was like, oh, it's something different, something else I can be involved in the game. It's something different. You played your game, and I could also go and referee a couple of games after the Friday night before. Yeah. And so on. So, I kept doing that till I think I gave up playing at about 19 or 20. They sort of said, look, you're not going to play for the Socceroos, so why don't you try and referee teams that will play the Socceroos? And I was like, oh, yeah, righto. Okay. And so from, started. And it was good cash, man. It's actually, you either referee a game of football or go and get yelled at for not having enough salt on your fries at McDonald's. 1,000% I'm going to go blow a whistle.
Yeah,
sure. 100%. I mean, I always did consider doing it because actually, if you do a few games on the weekend, it's not bad.
I don't reckon you'd be well loved.
Oh, I'd be the worst ref ever.
You'd be shocking.
Yeah, because I'm a smart ass.
Yeah,
that's my problem.
Correct. Yeah.
And I don't know how to be civil.
Probably more what I
But like you were saying, Kingy, it's if you rack up a few games on the weekend, especially if you're a teenager, it's a bloody part-time job.
Yeah, it's good cash. When I got my license and stuff, I was able to buy my car with cash. I wasn't driving up a beaten up Toyota Corolla. Being from Queensland, we had the Commodore Utes and stuff.
Yeah,
it's it was just a great way to earn money, and it was just something different about the game.
So, where does the transition start from? Okay, I've decided to be a referee, and then talk us through, I guess, what certificates you needed, what steps you took to get to the top, which is the A-League. What was that journey chronologically?
So, back, obviously we had the NPLs all now.
Yep.
So the goal had to be I think we had it was called the QSL. QSL back then. That's even when Tyson Holmes was bloody playing at Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, Tyson Holmes.
Player, I reckon he should have definitely had a crack at the A League.
My only knock on Tyson Holmes, he wore a mouth guard, which he's not gonna like.
No,
to
he
say.
didn't, did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
You know,
But hey, Tyson Holmes was a great player. South Melbourne and Bentley Green.
yeah, but hang on, wait, was this when he came to Melbourne to start with a mouth guard?
Yeah,
Because
there was a few players back then that was wearing
he
them. I
got
never
locked
understood
in
it.
a QSL game though, referee.
There you go.
Because he was being a smart ass and he was like clapping someone off the field who I just sent off, and he turned around and clocked it.
Oh, now I feel bad.
So that's
Giving
why
him
he
shit on the
that's
field.
why he wears the mouth
Oh
guard.
yeah, he wore a mouth guard on the field.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that before.
Yeah,
Never seen it before.
that's probably why, because he got clocked.
But you're
that
right.
day.
He was a great player.
Yeah,
Fair play.
yeah. Sorry. So yeah, we had the QSL. So the goal was like, because I was in the Sunshine Coast branch, we always were able to have one referee on that QSL panel. So the goal was you had to be the best in the sunny coast.
Yeah.
So like, luckily enough, because I was at Bribey, like, you had your Friday night seniors, your over 35s, your third division. That's what we had back then. So, I'd run the double lines and, you'd get experience by just running the lines, making mistakes and all that sort of stuff. And because like they considered it rural, but Sunshine Coast isn't rural. Like,
Yeah, you wouldn't say it was rural.
but you're right. Like you had, and I was pretty keen. I was fit. Like I always based it because when I was younger, 16, I had the long Justin Bieber hair, like going sweeping this way. And, like, no grown man would want
Listen
to
to
me. Nah, but they sort of looked at it and they saw I was keen and I really enjoyed it. And they said, well, look, we can either give it to the young fella and he can ruin the game, or we give it to an old fella and he'll ruin the game. Like. So
stay forward. There's a few. There's one that maybe. Anyway, keep going.
yeah, like at least I made it out of the centre circle, so I was already like tick.
Yeah.
So I wasn't giving penalties from halfway, so they were like, all right. So
Seen that before.
like we've all seen it at local footy. So I think at 16 and 17, I was doing our Premier League on the sunny coast, and like I learnt so quick how I could and couldn't speak to grown men. Really? And I've mentioned this before, there's these three, there's Scotty Rocker, he was an attacker, there was Matty Rocker, who was a defender, and their dad, old boy Rocker, was the coach. So no matter where I ran on the field, I was getting abused by one of them. Like if I came too close to tech areas, the old boy would be going at me. In the defensive zone, I had Matty Rocker, and I just remember one day turning around and being like, Matty, if you talk to me like that again, I'm going to yellow card you. And he just screamed F off as loud as he could. And I basically ran away. And I was like, you know what? I'm never going to ever say that to a grown man ever again. And I just learned so quick the man management side of things.
Yeah.
Like how I can and cannot speak to players. Once I started getting good at it, and I was like, at 16, 17, I have to get the respect of the older players. Like these guys, some of them have played, high levels or whatever they've done. So for me, it wasn't, I had to earn it and I said, I'd be the fittest. I'd be the closest I could be to each decision. Yeah. And if I was right there, then if they turned around and wanted to scream at me, I'm like, look, I'm right here. Even if I'm wrong or right, I'm right there. So it was all about like getting respect from the players and earning it.
It's crazy that to shift that mentality, to get to that elite mentality, you had to go through ropes of abuse just to kind of comprehend of how you can be better, which is probably not the best way for it to happen, but ultimately that's what it actually was.
It is, and like I know I'm sort of veering a little bit, but it actually is so good for young people, because it builds resilience.
Sure.
Like there's so many life skills in refereeing.
Thick skin,
resilience, like discipline.
Yeah,
like there's so much that you can learn. Like as much as we'll go, oh, reffing sucks, the abuse and that, but it can actually build some really good like traits as you as a person.
Man, I would like, and I feel like you said, imagine going through all of that. I feel like most refs, if not all, have had a similar-ish where it's like you're in state leagues, you're in NPL, you're getting abused, the rocker boys are up your ass.
Yeah.
Like
there's a rocker boy in every team.
There's the rocker, the Italian rock. Are they Italian? They're Italian, aren't they?
Oh, I don't think so. They were hard Aussie men, eh?
Oh, like not like ROCCA.
Oh, no, it wasn't like that.
They were like what?
No, it was like a proper like rock and ER on the end.
There we go.
Okay.
Proper rock and roll.
Well, I was gonna say like, what are they doing in the Sunshine Coast there? But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but like that's what I mean. Like I just worked hard. Like I did our grand final at 18, and then jumped on the QSL and at 18, and just learnt your craft. And at 20, like you go through. like you do go through your level 3s, your 4s, your 5s. Like it keeps changing.
Yeah.
And like, I remember they said, "Oh, Alex, you got to do your level 2," and I went, "Oh, sweet." And like, I'm a chippy by trade.
Yep.
You know, I'm not a intellect. I'm not a I went to school, but I wasn't there.
Lights are on, no one was home. Yeah.
You know, we used to have Wednesdays off, man. You go surf, whatever. But,
Wow.
you know,
Place called Bribey Island. There you go.
good place, man.
Who were you bribing?
But yeah, like it was, you know, you just once they said, yeah, you got to do your level 2. I said, oh yeah, sweet. So I messaged one of the boys. I said, oh, you done your level 2 referees? And he goes, yeah. I said, oh, can you just flick it to me and I'll just have a look? And it was like this big, like pages full of self-assessments and this and that. I said, oh yeah, sick. I just went and changed. Adam Kersey.
This is for the year in the A-League.
But it's gotten a lot better now. But you got to go through. You got to get to level 1 before you get on the A-League. But you know, like you go through, you know, NYC tournaments. I know I've heard you guys speak about it before.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing you go to as a pathways to be seen by other people.
So what do you exactly do? Is it like 3 days of theory and then like a couple days of like, what's the process of you getting the certificate, or does it change at each level?
Well, I think it changes at each level. Like you got to do on-field assessments, and then there's a theory component. And like I said, I'm not sure what it would even be now because it's, you know, it's a long time ago since I had to do
And the rules have changed.
Yeah, everything keeps changing. And you know, as the players get better, like the refereeing structure and everything gets better as well.
Yeah.
So they have better like education, and in FA now, like with the work they're doing in the grassroots football side, it's about all that education and stuff that I didn't have growing up. It was simple, you know.
So for you, it was just more like get out there,
Just
experience
get on the field.
it.
Yeah, get out in the field and just referee as many games as I physically could.
Yeah.
And that's how, just to get better.
What's interesting to me is what you said, and my experience with the elite referees versus most referees, and probably just the first comment actually around referees is without referees in pretty much any sport, the sport doesn't exist. Yet it's one of the most, as you said, thankless jobs we have going around. But the difference, the jump between great referees is kind of what you said around how to deal with either the experienced players or the way you communicate with players, because you're always going to make right or wrong decisions in a game. At times it can be so quick. It's part of it. But the communication piece is the biggest difference that I'd noticed with the A-League referees versus the NPL referees. I know sometimes they cross over, but some where you have a conversation and some where you can't have a conversation. And I'm interested to know how you sort of handle that, where the boundaries around whether you allow players to have those conversations with you or whether you need to just nip that in the bud.
So it's always interesting. Like you can't ever talk to one player in the same way. Yeah. So I'll use Bess Upberisher as an example. Like he was an epic player. Like he was excellent, and he was a competitor. Fierce competitor.
Yeah.
So if I refereed a game with Bess in there is no way I would ever call him out to talk to him. I would never ever get into a battle of words or anything with him. If it was something, I'd agree with him and I'd run away, because I know that's a battle I can't win. And that's just, I know who he is. It's the Albanian in him, being a fierce competitor. I go, I can't do that. The way I go and speak to someone now, it's not on.
Who's the nice guy?
No, well, okay. Like the way I speak to Luke Bratton won't be the same way I talk to a younger player.
Right.
Like a more experienced player.
Yeah.
Like the way I speak to them will be completely different to a young player.
Yeah.
In what sense? In the terms of like, with the experienced ones, are you like, mate, you know better than that? Or is it more...
To an extent, I think sometimes with the more experienced guys, they, you know, if you can get their respect, they'll accept you making mistakes. And, you know, sometimes out in the field, it might be worth me just going, you know what, I reckon I did have one there. Like, I reckon I did. Like, give me a chance to get the next one right. Or like, no. Like, it just depends on who it is. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Do you leverage those relationships on field with situations when stuff's getting out of hand to go to some of those right hands where you got those relationships like, mate, I need you to contain this?
1,000%. Yeah. Like, if sometimes, you know, it depends. Yeah, like I said, depends all on, keep on going back to whoever it is. But, you know, like if I know I've got a good relationship with one player, I might go to him and say, hey, mate, I really need help with this one.
Okay.
You know, he's towing the line. You know, you guys are doing so well. I don't want to have a rubbish send-off for something that can be avoided. Right. Can you help me out here? And then that's
is that usually like the captains you would go to, or is it sometimes? I mean,
sometimes.
Yeah,
but it depends on that captain. If they're a fierce competitor like Bess, then I wouldn't go. You know, like, man, Diamante was such a character when he was at Western United, but sometimes I know that I couldn't even speak to him about certain things because he was just so over the top, and I'd just be like, no, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
I'll go to someone else in that team, you know, that I feel is a leader as well.
How long did that take you to develop? Because your A-League debut was because another ref got injured, wasn't it?
Yes, probably
his hammy.
it's probably the most memorable referee. It's like a player. Come on for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Whatever
but-
it was.
Well, you know, it was actually funny because you guys had the victory kit man on here.
Yeah, Guido. Yep.
That was, you remember when you were talking about the game where the kits clashed? White and...
Oh, so it was Wellington.
That was that one.
So you've come on
it
for
was,
10 minutes and you can't
and
even
it was
see
that
who's
one.
who.
It was that one, yeah. Because I'll never forget it, man. I'll never forget it because I was like I said, I was the fourth official, and I'm like, you know, when we all said, I was like, this isn't right. Like, this is, you know, it's too close. And it was you know, it wasn't on anyone's fault, but the person who was in charge of the A-Leagues at the time. It's got to be this.
Yep.
Big mistake.
And yeah, because I won't ever forget Bessart coming out and he'd just be like, what the, like, we're the same colour. And I was like,
Yeah.
I know that. And Muskie,
No shit.
I was like, wait, no, Fogel, like, what do you want me to do? Like, I know that, Fogel. I was like, I don't know. Like, and I just remember Muskie blowing up, and I was just like, I remember going straight to Muskie being like, mate, this wasn't our decision either. Just so you know. Like, don't go at us, go at whoever you need to go at, but this wasn't our call. We wanted you guys to be in your navy blue. But yeah, it was that game where he pinged his hammy, because I remember I was just standing there, I had my hands in my pocket, and then all of a sudden I hear over the comms some expletives, and I went, you all right, Alan? Like, are you good? And he's like, nah, man, warm up. And he's like, I think I've pinged me hammy. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, it's freezing. I mean, we're in Auckland. I'm like,
Just trying to warm my hammy. He's like,
nervous. And I was like, what am I, like, yeah, it was bizarre.
Do you remember,
That's fucked.
do you remember as a player, usually you remember your first game, maybe your first goal. Do you remember any of like your first decisions? Like when
On that one, I do.
when you've kind of got to put your emphasis or
Put your foot down.
your stance on the game. That's a scary thing, I imagine.
It was at the time. And I'll never forget it. And it was Glenn Moss was in goal.
Oh, Mossy.
Mossy. So good man, really good man. And it was like they were up, they were beating victory. I can't remember what the score was, but he was taking the piss a little bit with the goal kicks, as you do. Like every goal,
18
man.
seconds.
Like, oh man, yeah, and yeah. I could get on about that with the counting of the goalkeeper. You know when they all go, oh, 1,
Yeah.
2,
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you. I did go to Bribey High, but I know how to count them.
Yeah. But just on that, look, I'm going to be honest. I played with White Line Fever, and I was a cheeky shit with referees. Because there was a point where I felt, without being older and more mature and now having this conversation, or probably throughout this, I probably felt there was times where, Michael, the ref sometimes feels in the way of a result because maybe decisions are going the wrong way. Decisions, particularly when you play in the NPL, I mean, it's flip a coin sometimes on some of the decisions. But in saying that, I used to do things like that, like just to count, and I'm like, I'd just count it to like 8 seconds.
Just to wind up.
Yeah, just to wind up. But also, I'm like making a point. But just in that, with someone as stupid and as cheeky as me, like how do you handle that? Because
I just go back like that. I was like, no, thank you. I didn't know what comes after 8. Can you please tell me?
so you play the
I
game.
just go back a little bit. Yeah,
You meet them what they
you got to be like, because I was an apprentice chippy, and I going on the work side.
So with tradies and all that.
I had to like be a bit quick witted and like have something to say.
That
back.
gets a bit of respect, surely.
Yeah.
The reason we've actually got you on is because we were speaking about referees with Dan, and Gavin brought up the fact that he goes, you know, in the NPL, if you get
That's how he talks.
yeah, a little bit. He's like, if you get a ref with a bit of banter, it's sick. And then Dan said, yeah, that's what Alex King's like.
Wow, there we go.
And then
Pump Up Birrell's my like
Yeah.
agent.
so how often? Again, it depends on the player.
Yeah, always.
You're not going to have a banter with Bess, I'd assume.
No.
But how often
Unless he scored 3.
Well,
yeah.
How often during a game will you make a cheeky comment or just have a bit of a laugh about something?
Yeah,
Like, because there's a line.
Yeah, there's a line, and you just got to know you just can't cross it. Like I said, like, you know, it could be if someone starts going at me about decisions and stuff. Like, I just try and remember certain things in a game. It just depends. Like, if someone says something, I might go, oh yeah, 36. What? And I said 42. What? I said those are the amount of shit touches you've had. Okay, like you just like sometimes you got to try and remember.
And people
Like,
tell me off for saying something on the sidelines. A ref saying
That's brilliant.
No, but it depends. Only if they're giving me a hard time.
No,
You know,
that's fair enough.
But that's with certain players, and then you might, if you get the smile, then you know it's good.
You know you're allowed
And then
to-
you keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know it's.
Can I ask you about just some of the mentors you have in the referee game? Like Strebray, he's one of the all-time greats that I experienced that was probably one of the referees when you saw that he was refereeing or even just in the tunnel, you knew it was going to be a pretty solid game. Like that was never going to be an equation in the result or whatever. Like from your point of view, you mentioned Jared Gillette and probably some others, but who else is sort of those guys you lean on?
Yeah, so like Strebray was obviously a man of the people,
Yeah.
as we like to call him. You know, like he was just a man manager, and that's like how I want to base my refereeing. Like I'm not technically the best. Like I couldn't tell you the laws back to front and all the rest, but I just try and go off feel a little bit and what the game needs. You know, am I going to have a positive impact or negative impact? What is what I'm about to do? You know, so like I do base it off Dello. Peter Green was another good one. Like just went about his business. Chris Beath, I know he copped a hard time, but he's actually he's a very good good person to lean on. Jared Gillette in England, like we still talk at least once a week about stuff that's going on with him, what we're doing, and like he still watches the A-League, you know, like from his fancy VAR room that they have in the
Can I ask, just to jump?
Talk to me about Chelsea, actually.
Just to jump, because I'm sure we're going to bring it back to the A-League and just some of like the refereeing outcomes and things like that. But just from Jared's point of view, what is the main difference refereeing from the Premier League to the A-League?
The funny thing is, I said what, like, because he obviously when he went over there, he started the like League One, League Two, and then he did basically Championship, and then not long after he was straight on the Prem. And I was like, where does the A-League compare? Like honestly, like where, like because I can't stand people. I don't watch the A-League, you know, blah blah, you know. But I'll go to the casino. We'll go to the casino for fun or anyway. But like going there just to go and watch a game. I'm like, watch the A-League. Yeah. But he said like he would say would be, you know, some games at middle championship, because he says like, you know, over there they're physical and they hit and everything.
It's quick.
But here the ball's on the ground. It's to feet. It's not bombing it back and forth. It's actually quite structured. Yeah. And you know what? You're always going to get, you know, some games aren't going to be that crash hot.
Yeah.
But you know what?
It's everywhere.
But it had happened everywhere in England. Like, you know, you get, a lot of people get up to watch, you know, Arsenal, Tottenham, but no one's getting up to watch Nottingham versus Villa or something. You know what I mean? Like that game could be really rubbish and no one watches it. Like it just, and yeah, but he said like he really rates like the A-League compared to the Championship, like in the middle table-ish.
Yep. Which is a compliment, because the Championship's like the fourth most viewed league in the world.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Toughest league in the world.
Yeah,
toughest league.
Really
Yeah,
is.
for Leeds United it is. But
That's a shame. That's coming out.
They're saying we can't go first. We don't go up.
Something here. I'm not saying anything about Leeds. Wait till they're back in the Prem. Just on, I guess, going back to communicating with players and stuff. So you would say that your strong points are keeping a lid on things, being able to communicate. Is that what? Because you said you weren't technically the best ref. But what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so like I said, I wouldn't know the laws back to front. Like,
Yeah.
You know, unless I'm making it a movie form where it's not reading, I might, you know, might
Well,
be easier for.
is it fair to say it's a big book?
It's not that big, but like the way you look at it, it's flexible, so we can be flexible. So like, you know, sometimes I might do things in a game, like I won't say what game it was, but 2 seasons back, there's a game where, you know, I'd given a horrendous first yellow card. It was a really bad yellow card, and and I just went. I remember just at halftime, and I just remember looking at something and going, all right, that's a rubbish yellow card. I said, you know, like we got to keep an eye on this. Like if this player goes and does something else, unless he absolutely kills the bloke, I don't want to give a second yellow because my first one's rubbish.
Okay.
So
I think that's good though. I think that's
it's like it's balancing the books, but it's, you know, like I won't ever do it if it's like technical decisions. Like it's technical. Like I feel like we as referees can be more flexible with the technical stuff. The rubbish challenges, the nasty tackles, you don't manage those. If they're nasty, they're nasty.
If they're bad, they're bad.
But they're bad, you know, like we call it spars or dog shows, or stopping promising attacks. Like, unless it's that holding, like if someone goes to trip and then, you know, it's not too bad, maybe we can get away with those.
like a professional foul.
Yeah, but it's the holding where people go, nah, it's so anti-football. We don't, you know,
Yeah.
it's hard to explain. Like, and we don't referee every game the same. Like, some derbies might be different to this, and whatever. But yeah, the game that I did have, then he did do something which was a technical offence. Should have been his second yellow, and I went, nah, not today. I'll leave that alone. And then I swear football has a way of evening itself out. But then the team that thought that he should have been sent off, they had denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity, but it was close to the halfway line, and I went, nope, I'll just go yellow here. So I went 1-1.
Yeah.
So, but the thing was, inside our referee bubble, they said, oh, Alex, you got 2 things wrong. I said, yep. Publicly, no one knew.
Is this, shout out to the boys at Bruce Media, they brought up something just before you came in. Was this not the game at halftime, Central Coast versus, who was it, boys?
I don't know if he wants to bring up which game it was.
No, because it's
So is that the one?
it's on video.
Oh, the behind the scenes.
Yeah, the behind the scenes one.
God, I had a mare that game.
So can you
But it wasn't that one.
Okay, can you explain what happened in that video?
Oh yeah, so that video they just they said they wanted to follow me to do this game, and I went, yeah, no worries, like sort of at the airport. Yeah, it was just I had a mare, like it was just whatever. They followed me, just through the day, what we did, went for coffee, just normal pre-match stuff, and then the drive down to Gosford. Like I don't know, the thing was like Gosford used to be a really bad place for me. I used to always have mares there.
Okay.
Like, the most scariest ground.
Tomato sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, I had that real bad, when I made VAR real famous in Oz because we had some issues, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, we just got down there and then they followed and they were able to listen into the comms and all that sort of stuff. And I just had 2, gave a pen, which was just never, I just thought I saw something, thought it hit the other arm, not the arm that hit. And then obviously VAR said, fix it. I said, no worries. So, and then there was this tackle that I saw and I was like, I reckon that's red. And because I'd made a mistake on the first one, mentally I was like, it's a very tough thing to try and get over mistakes and like other players and officials and all that, because now we get instant feedback. The VAR says we're wrong or right. So it's about trying to bin that. But because I wasn't confident, I went yellow. And it was literally as soon as the VAR came and said, oh, Alex, I recommend, I said, yep. And I went straight over there. I went, because I remember what I saw. I was like, I knew the studs had hit him down, dragged down the shin. And I went, yep, sweet. Going to go red. Like I only needed to have a quick look. And I go, because, once I look at something at the VAR screen, I literally know within 2 seconds if I've had one or not.
See, that's interesting because I feel like a lot of refs, so you're saying that as soon as you go to the screen, it'll take 2 seconds. Is that what you're saying?
Mostly. Unless it's a real complicated,
because some people take 3 minutes.
It just depends on the situation. But like with tackles and stuff, normally if I go over, I could look at it and within 2 seconds I go, oh yeah. Like, okay, that's experience and knowing what I've...
Yeah. Has the VAR sort of that coming in, because there's probably a lot of speculation. We probably want to dive a little bit into it. It's utilised for sure. But just in regards to like pre-VAR, for example, I mean, your sort of gut feel on decisions is probably an instinct and eyes of what you see is what you're making calls on. When VAR comes in and sometimes you review things and you've naturally just gone off all the tools that you've had pre that, and then you watch it back and you see, has that shocked you on whether you are getting things wrong, or is it actually kind of supported that, no, probably a lot of your on-field stuff's correct, of sort of right what you're doing?
Like, we make a lot of decisions on field. Like, unfortunately, sometimes the ones where we miss stuff in the halfway and all that, who cares, like, whatever, but it's the penalty areas that obviously, are big controversial. Sometimes they win or lose matches. But I never actually refereed on the A-League without VAR. My first year on the A-League was with VAR. Okay. So I'd done, all the NPL all my life without it. And then I got to this thing where I was like, ooh, okay, like, but it's changed how, like, it's changed over the years. I think we could probably change a little. I think we're going too far one way with it. That's just
too much technology?
Not too much technology. I just think we're starting to go down the path of right and wrong, where I still think football is very subjective. Yeah. The only thing that's right or wrong is offside. And I don't care what anyone says. Oh, he's a toe offside or he's this or that. It doesn't matter. If you change it to, change the bodies, like what Arsene Wenger's been talking about. Okay, he might end up being this much offside anyway with the new rule. Yeah. Like, offside is offside. That's the rule. Like, that's it. But it's not really changed my way of thinking. This year I had a pretty good season last year, I think. I can't remember what percentage, but I was getting most things right.
Wow.
So, but it's about, like, mentally for referees now, being able to go, yep, I can fix something here and now, without then Monday, like, everyone's smashing you online, everyone's going at you going, you've made this, and then you couldn't fix it. Because I like that if I ever gave a penalty that's an absolute scandal, like I just get tricked, someone dives or whatever, I can fix it.
Yeah.
Because it's like we think back to all some big moments in history that if there was VAR, like maybe the English might have actually won a World Cup. So,
We spoke about that the other week. Hey, if things that would have happened if VAR was around,
We would have lost the league one year.
Well, Argentina don't win the 1986 World Cup.
Yeah.
Maradona gets sent off. Probably.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Look, that's what I mean.
He's glorified for something that would have been
So for most football fans say the same thing, right? And I've been guilty of it as well. And I guess that's why it's good to speak to you here to get the other side, the other aspect of it. But we've all said get rid of it. Get rid of it. It's ruining this. It's ruining that. Ex-players say it. Pundits say it.
Simon Hill said it.
I've had a conversation with Simon Hill about it.
He was what can you share some of those conversations? Because he's been a voice of the game for a while. So
yeah, man, he's one of the best commentators. He's like voice of football.
It's like Martin Tyler for Australia.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, Martin Tyler. Come on.
Yeah.
No, like I think we're just going, like, and that's just my perspective. I think sometimes we just go too far one way.
Yep.
And that's not like it's. I think each league in their own right can do different things. We don't have I know it's not like AFL, NRL where they just change the rules every week to suit what everyone's whinging about. But I think we could just do it better. I think there's so much room for improvement with VAR, and I think it's. Like I don't know what the perfect answer is, but I think there's is there education? I think a lot of people don't actually know. Like every time I hear about things, the VAR said this and they told the ref this, and it's like, no, the ref just made the decision on field. I don't know what are you talking about? Like I think the education isn't there, and I think maybe that's something that the A-Leagues could look at this coming season, whether the people actually sit inside that room and they can see how it goes. If we do if there's a media piece. You guys can get involved. You get in touch with our refs department.
I'll run the VAR.
We'll set you up. We'll set you up with it. We normally get two teams come in.
Let's actually do that.
How hard it would be.
I've seen Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. They went in and did they sat in there. They sat in there and tried to do it.
That's what I mean. Next time we do a VAR seminar course,
let's do it.
By all means.
Let's
come down, do what you got to do. You have a play around, you're able to come in, be the ref, be the VAR.
We'd probably gain a hell of a lot of respect for what you do. Because I naturally would think, particularly when you come from playing, it must be hard. And I do want to go into some plays that you love refereeing just because of how good they are. But I'd be hard not to sometimes ball watch as well, because you a lot of brilliant football's happening around you, but you can't worry about that. You've got to worry about what's going on.
Yeah, it's funny. As much as I love football, I love watching good football. The sneaky crap happens off the ball. So when you're saying you get stuck ball watching,
you're referee. I
normally know that if ball's coming on that right wing, I'm instantly looking in the middle to see where the attacker is, because I know the defense will try and grab him. Yeah, the body checks.
Yeah, all that stuff.
I won't say the players who, but I know that there are certain players that it's just in there, every game. I know that what they're going to do, make it harder for me. I know what you're going to do. But yeah, I think if you guys came and you did a bit of a piece or something and just showed everyone and just gave a bit more education around it. We try and sit there, we time ourselves. We want to try and be as quick as we can. Some we try and go off gut feel. Oh, yep, no. Is that enough? There's so much that goes into it, and VAR is a new thing. Remember, so we've got to it's a new tool. Just started with it in the professional leagues, and we go, and everyone wants us to be perfect, but we're all human beings. We're still going to make mistakes, unfortunately.
I've got two questions. The first one would be, you kept saying some things could be fixed. Is there anything in specific, or do you just mean in general? And then the second one would be, what are some misconceptions about it?
So, the misconceptions, obviously they think that VAR takes a long time to clear things and stuff, and so on with goals and that.
Yeah.
Half the time it's not even us. Half the time it's on TV. We're actually waiting on field. Everyone's going, what are we waiting for? And the players saying, I said, no, goal's good. We're waiting on broadcast. We're literally waiting on broadcast because they're showing the replays and doing that. So that's a misconception. People go, what could the VAR be checking? No, I checked it in 20 seconds. The goal's good.
Yeah, because they portray. Yeah, well, no, it does. It portrays you guys in a light of you guys are slow, but it's no, you guys are much more advanced than the fan, right? Because
a lot of the times, sometimes there'll be situations where it might be just some random offside things that we maybe need to look at a little bit closer. But yeah, like remember also, like things like handball has not been made easy for us. Like remember, they're telling us that we have to adjudicate on a player's natural body position for the movement. But I haven't played the game in 10 years. I actually haven't played so. I can't remember what it's like to kick. Like what about the Spanish bloke against Cucurella?
Oh,
Yeah, Cucurella. Is it handball? Is it not?
Yeah. Well, that's I'm
See Alex
interested.
out there going, hold on, let me just. So you kicked it that way and you put your hand like that? No, it's a handball.
Well, one of my probably my take on this, and without being a referee, this is coming from a football side, is I find it really hard for defenders to not be able to use their arms when they defend. I think it's part of, like, whether it's touching, movements, hand. Like Virgil van Dijk does it the best now, but it's also so different to traditional defenders. Is he hands behind the back, like he's been handcuffed? Do you know what I mean?
But you're right though, mate. Like, because it's not. We don't play football like that. No one plays football like that.
It's
As
weird.
a referee, as soon as I see the hands go behind the back, I go, epic. There's not going to be a handball.
Yeah.
But it's not the way that we should be playing football. And I think what we're trying to do now, it's all about, are you blocking or are you attempting to play the ball? So obviously when you're blocking, so say like I want to try and block something and I'm like, I might go sideways like this or like whatever. Well, that's not, if I'm blocking a shot, how's that fair that I'm going sideways and my arm's out like this? Yeah. But if I'm going in to then play the ball and my arm comes out like this, all right, that's probably not going to be handball because I'm actually trying to play and that's probably how it's going to go. Like, so
yeah, that makes sense.
They're trying to make it easier, but it's still very tricky.
Yeah. So what do you do in those situations in the heat of the moment when, like,
gut feel?
Just your gut feel?
It has to be
gut feel.
I think that's the best way to be, because I think you're a little bit on the players' side of that too. Of like, a lot of handballs these days are not intentional.
Yeah.
But obviously they say the hand off the body, then you've got to give it. But sometimes
because I copped a lot of heat on the socials. I saw, like, I know I try not to read too much, but the Melbourne Derby semi-final, when I gave a pen against Melbourne in the 70th minute for De Silva, and he's sliding along the ground, his arm's on the ground like this. Yeah, okay, his arm can't disappear, but he's trying to block a shot, like block a pass going into the penalty area. Why does he get to slide along the ground like this, like a goalkeeper? Yeah, his arm can't go anywhere. But what's the attacker done wrong? He's trying to put the ball in the penalty area and it hits the arm when he's sliding in. Like
that's a disadvantage.
Bro,
that's a disadvantage.
When the gut feeling leaves, when any form of instinct, gut feeling leaves a game, game's gone.
Yeah.
Whether that's from a ref's perspective, coach, players, whatever, that's what makes the game what it is. It's we don't know what's going to happen. I actually saw some freak show on Instagram the other day saying that all football is staged. And I was like, shut up. But in 20 years, if everything is so... And it must be better for refs when there's a flow to the game rather than, oh, little something happened there, oh, little something happened there, oh, little something happened there. You would prefer for a game to flow, because the worst thing as a fan, and I'm sure you already know this, is when you're watching a game and it is just fucking stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. You don't see any patterns of play. You don't see anything brilliant. There's no moments of brilliance. What's your take on letting things...
Yeah, so in the first 15 minutes, this is what I tell my assistant referees, my fourth official, before we go out. Like I always say, look, first 15 minutes, the players will tell us what they want.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but we can see if they come to play or if they want to just kick the crap out of each other. Like how the grand final went a few months back. I knew going into that game that if the ball was in play as much as I could, less chance for people to come at me about decisions and so on. So I knew if I could get that ball and that restart going as quick as I could with anything, the upper body contact, you can always let a little bit more go upper body, especially if it's side on side. Like, it's rarely going to be a foul if it's side on side. Like, it just depends on, what your tolerances are. But we want the league to succeed in this country. Like, I want to see the A-League be the best it can be. I want to see us take on AFL and NRL. Like, yeah, I want to see us be competitive with it. And we need to help facilitate an entertaining contest. And we need to have the ball in play more. Like, we actually had some stats. I don't know what last season's were, but the season before, because I took it to the clubs and when we did our little club presentation to the teams, we had more ball in play time than the Premier League.
Really?
We averaged more.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I reckon I would have the stats somewhere on my phone. But yeah, we were, I think they were at about 55 and we were at about 65 per game average.
Yeah.
So we had more ball in play time. And I said, because I started that when I spoke to the club, I said, guys, like, we're playing in summer and these are the stats you guys are rolling out. Like, this is awesome. Like,
That's really
yeah, but we should have those stats out more to say, like, look, this is
people
like,
to know.
for people to know.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that there's just a lot that people don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think there's a natural feel and frustration with the game in this country because we all know how big the game can be. I mean, there's not too many leagues in the world that had been around for 5 years at the time, or sports around the world that been around for 5 years at the time that could fill out a 50,000 seat stadium, Melbourne Derby in like 2010 or something. You know, it just shows that there's something there. So I think there's a kind of this ebbs and flow of frustration with why can we not sort of continue on this trajectory. But as you said, more people need to come and see the product because the product, you're the closest to it every week, and you're sort of saying that, well, it's probably better than what people think, right?
Oh, it's so much better than what people think, and that's why it shits me to tears when I hear people just go, oh nah, EPL, I don't watch A-League. Like, but man, it's in your backyard.
Speaking on the Melbourne Derby, this is a perfect segue.
Yeah.
Many people deem this game to be one of the darkest days in Australian football, and that's not an over-exaggeration.
It could well be the.
It could well be the.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Melbourne Derby, the game that got called off, Bin Gate, whatever they call it. Tom Glover
Bucket
incident.
Man.
Bucket Man.
Bucket Man.
Gate, whatever. You were the referee for that game.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, give us sort of a storyline of, okay, how you were feeling before the game, at kickoff, before it happened, during and after? Because, I say before, because there was swirling around the internet and everything. Victory going to do something at 20 minutes. They're going to walk out. They're going to do this protest. They're going to do that. I want to know, you are in literally the best position in the middle of the pitch, how you felt at each different moment of that game.
Yeah, okay. So, obviously, the grand final decisions had come out during the week, and like, you know, it in hindsight, it wasn't a good thing. But I remember we're trying to bring money into the sport, so then I somewhat, you know, football is for the fans, and I see why they did it. Hindsight wasn't a good idea, but it was funny. Like when the apps come out, I saw I was on the Melbourne Derby. I go, boom, like excellent. Like I love whenever we always highlight the derbies because they're the epic games to do. Like they're just, you know, they're the standout games in the calendar. Yeah. And I remember getting to the ground, and security guard came in, the head of security there at Amy Park, and I was like, "Oh, hey mate, how are you?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "And you guys heard anything about what's going on today?" I was like, "Oh, I assume there's going to be a walkout at 20 minutes probably." And he goes, "Oh yeah, okay. What do you guys do if they storm the pitch?" And I went, "Ha!" I was like,
Good one.
"We're in Australia, man. We're not in South America. They're not going to storm the pitch."
Yeah.
I said, "And if they do, we'll just run. No worries." And we literally just went about our business. And it was wild. And, you know, we do the game and the game's going on. And I looked at the big clock there, wherever it is at Amy, and I went, "Oh, it's going up to 20 minutes.
Yep.
And then as we're going, my assistant Juan goes, "Oi, Alex, like, there's the net's on fire." And this was down on the city end, though. And I was like,
So this is the opposite end.
this is opposite end. So the whole reason I stopped the game was for the opposite end. This is because what happened?
Net's on fire. That's crazy, by the way.
Holy shit.
When someone goes, "Yeah, the net's on fire," and I'm like, "Oh, right, okay, yep. Well, look, the ball's about to go to Tommy Glover," and I said, "Awesome. He'll have it in his hands. I'll stop play because then I just get to restart with a drop ball to the keeper.
Yep.
All good." And I said, "All right, we'll stop here," and then, you know, I said, "Get that sorted," and I was next to Tommy, and then all of a sudden I look over to the you know, the North Terrace guys, and then I see one flare come over, and I was like, "Ooh, all right." And I said to Tommy, I said, "Mate, just leave it. Like, let the security guards sort it out." And he goes, "Oh, just threw it." Another one came, and he threw it. And then this other one came, and I learned the difference. One is like a road flare.
Yes.
One's, I didn't know until the coppers.
Well, can you explain the difference for the...
Well, like
listeners that don't know?
the road flares, they're a lot heavier and they're bigger, and they're I'm not sure what exactly they use them for, but then the other flare is for your boats and
Marine
stuff. Marine flares, so then they're a lot lighter, and all the rest. And I was like, "Oh yeah." And then one of those marine flares come flying in, and then I just saw Tommy Glover pick it up, and I just saw him just go, "Oof," and then I just like, because this was a lot lighter though.
It
I literally
travelled a
just,
bit further.
yeah, and I just looked at it, and I was just looking, and I was looking, and I was like, oh no. And I remember just seeing this guy standing on the barrack, on whatever it was. He was standing up, and he's just sort of gone like this, and it's hit him in the stomach, and I was going, oh no. Like, I was just like, uh-oh, we're on here. And
I shouldn't laugh at that.
and I just saw
we should
all
laugh
these
at that.
guys just jump the barricades, and I went, oh, we got to go. And I just remember going like on the whistle, and I said, all right, we got to go. And I literally just sort of turned back, and I saw Tommy not moving.
Why? Yeah, why did that happen? Because obviously, I kind of rate that there wasn't much movement because you want to stand your ground. But obviously, if there's a barrage of people coming, it's within Tommy Glover's best interest and yours because you stayed with him, right?
Yeah.
Probably to an extent because he's standing there.
Well, when I thought about it, like, I was 30, 31, he was 23, 24. So he's still a kid.
Yeah.
He's still a kid. Like, I know he's a lot taller than I am and that, but like, he's a kid. I'm like a grown adult. And I was like, you know what? Maybe if I stand in front of him, nobody will go in because like, I haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
And so when I sort of got in front of him and I went, come on, man. And then I don't think he wanted to run away and have his back to these people. And I'm like, I don't know why. You're a professional athlete. You'd be way faster than these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, with some of them like, skin full of piss and that. But, and then all of a sudden, I just remember something like just getting covered and something hit me here. And then obviously and Tommy. And I just was like, what has just gone on? And I was like, I remember like trying to pick my whistle up and like, what am I doing with my whistle? I put it in my mouth and I'm like, stop, what are you?
So what hit you? Was it what?
So it was sand in the bucket.
So did you get hit by any sort of bucket at all?
Yeah,
or
so the bucket hit me here because I ended up having a bruise along the top.
Wow.
So it hit me here, and like I've always said, I wish I was 6'2", 6'3". I'd be unstoppable. Well, that day I'm glad I wasn't because it hit me, but then hit Tommy, and I was just like, and the sand was all over, and I was just like, what is going on? And I just remember going, nah, I'm out of here. And then one of the security guards sort of grabbed me and ran me through, and I was just like what was going on? It was wild. Like I sort of got into the tunnel and I was just like trying to spit sand out of my mouth, and I'm like, what is just going on? And then like it was good. Like Popovich come over and he's like, oh, come see our physio. So the physio looked me over, their team doctor and that, and it was really good. Like, both teams, how they handled themselves were epic. And
what about the aftermath of the game? Obviously it didn't really involve you. You got hit, but then like, what happens in terms of like, I don't even know where to begin. Like, did the league reach out to you? Did the clubs reach out to you? Like, so did you speak to any players, coaches? Like, how did that all go down after the dust settled?
So after we were in the tunnels and that, it was obviously decided that we weren't going to, what's it called? We weren't going to restart the game because Tommy Glover was bleeding everywhere, and I was like, oh man, we can't restart this game. Like, we've lost the integrity. I said, it's gone. And then I remember grabbing my phone, and I got a twin brother, mad football fan. He's a Chelsea supporter too.
Come on!
Oh, prick. Sad. And he just goes to me, is the game going back on? Like, what's going on?
So was there even thought of that happening?
It was thought of the game going back on.
Yeah, because we were in the crowd, and I was with my mates, and I literally had no idea whether I was like, do we go? Like, are they just going to stop it for a little bit and let it calm down? Like, do we leave? And then a few people were leaving. I'm like, am I staying here? Like, or like, what's going on? So yeah, some people thought the game was gonna.
Yeah, it was just
go on.
As soon as like Tommy was no good, and then like Greg O'Rourke called me, and he just said like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Mate, like if you want to go out there, I don't care. Like let's do it." Because it was like I said, we were riding the high of the World Cup. The scenes we saw in Melbourne when we fucking got through, and
I guess this was probably the disappointing part. And this is from both sides. One is the high around what we were going through on an international level. And then the decision sort of comes out, which probably frustrates a lot of fans, particularly Melbourne fans, that the grand final is going to be shifted to Sydney. But then all of a sudden, those actions happen, which ruin the momentum. I mean, let's be real.
So sad.
That those particular set of fans, and I'm a Victory fan, and I've worked a lot with the club, and probably the saddest thing for me, other than seeing innocent people sort of get squashed for nothing that they've done, was the good people behind that club. And I know you mentioned before we jumped on Caroline, the chairman, now John Dobeston, Ed Di Pietro, all these guys
and
and women that work there, just such great people that were dealing with the next 6 to 8 weeks of that club
because the
was
thing that killed it,
torment.
they didn't let anyone in. Like they said, no one's allowed, no active fans. And like I was like, oh, kills the game.
It was
Like,
just
I know they had
brutal.
punishment, but I was like, just dock them 12 points. Like just dock 12 points, but keep the fans in. Because I said it was, or like whatever. Like obviously, I don't
Talking
say
about
it,
everything
but
nets. They're talking about this
Yeah,
and that.
like,
It was crazy at the time.
it's not to use the fans.
Yeah.
Football's nothing without the fans.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was just a sad day for football because remember AFL, they put their fixtures out on the day we were playing somebody, and I was like, yeah, World Cup. I was like, how good? Like, they're scared. Like they know what this game can be,
And we just grabbed the gun and
we just
oh, you guys want to put your fixes out? Cool, we'll help. Just quickly. Yep. I was gonna say, welcome, Rash. You're good
Is his camera on? Is it? Oh, okay.
because I was gonna message you how to get here, but
Should we
you walked in.
should we give Rash a quick rundown of what we've gone through?
Yeah,
hey man,
we've gone through everything possible. No, we're just talking about Melbourne Derby.
There's so much more that we could click into, but what have we actually?
Melbourne Derby.
Cool. Yeah.
Because he was a ref for
We
it.
just finished that.
The one that got called off. How, like, remember what Gav was talking about, banter with players.
Yeah,
Certain players, he was saying he knows not to talk to Best too much. But then,
you don't
like,
talk to Best one way. How would talk to us. He's talking about don't win those battles with Best.
Yeah, talking about how to communicate with players.
Yeah.
We've touched on working with VAR.
Yep.
Some of his mentors. I guess how he transitioned from player to referee.
That's
We probably haven't really spoken about A-League. I guess we're touching on now.
yeah. There's a few more things. There's a few more things in my notes that will.
Yeah, sorry to the listeners for me jumping in late, but I was so keen to ask you some questions. So
Well, there's still time.
How'd you get here so quick?
Oh, yeah, apparently
The
we're
kid's got a bus.
so the kids walked, didn't they? Apparently, Kingy, we're frequently used on his
It's on Griddle.
Have you ever
Whenever
heard-
I need a player who's only played for 2 clubs,
He doesn't
can only
know
be
it,
2
yeah.
clubs
yeah.
from Victory or Western Sydney. You're my go-to.
It's like a crossword with like
Adelaide
images, so
or
it
Gold
might have
Coast.
victory and
Oh, it's a
Western
game.
It's a game.
Yeah,
It's a game. I don't think I'm on it.
Sydney. Yeah, either.
No,
We've been asked by the listeners.
I don't
tonight.
think. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm on it.
Shut up, man.
And
So-
I'm going to be on it though after I do VAR.
Yeah, on the note,
Oh yeah,
It's going to be like
we're also going to come in and do some sort of VAR
I
analysis
reckon. I was going to say, I reckon when we do like a weekend in Sydney with a VAR, if you guys did an actual piece on it, where you actually jump in, play
Can
a
you
round.
just imagine Jerome? You're all clear. Just let them know that was a disgusting tackle, man.
And but this is and what the best thing is, we bring in 2 teams and like they play, and then you've got to tell the ref, you've got to bring them over, you got to tell them what screens.
It's hard for him to stay unemotional though and be objective.
He might need
Very
like 5
hard.
minutes in bit.
Very hard.
You guys have known me for 4 months. Just on that though, the convos with the guys in the room, in the VAR room, is it really like, nah, you fucked up there, mate. Probably just go check that one again. Like, what level?
Is there a level of banter that goes on? Like,
Yeah, so
Like-
there's always some bits and pieces.
so is there any like, how's your day been, mate? Like, do you know what I mean? When,
Like, before the game, there's a little bit of rubbish here and there, but
Yeah.
during the game, we try and keep it as professional as we can. But sometimes if the game's getting a little bit like a bit of a lull in there, we might need to pick each other up. So we might talk a little bit of rubbish. Just
like, how
try and
shit is
switch
this?
on. Yeah, or just I might give the ARs a bit of a rough time or something because they only run half a field. and
did you
still-
find it easier to officiate the higher you went up at all, or did it get
Yeah.
harder?
Yeah, so
Oh, really?
yeah, I reckon because the A-League you can read the play a lot better. Like you always look for your 6s and your 8s because that's who the player goes to, and they always look to go out wide. Like you always look for your fast wingers. You normally it's that sort of style of play. Like you can sort of see.
We got more help as well.
Yep.
Like if you're doing NPL, and there's some crazy guy on the sidelines.
Is this a bloke at Heidelberg or someone who runs down the sidelines? He was just going
Preston?
at me. I don't know.
I don't know. It wasn't me.
It's Heidelberg.
Wasn't me.
Oh yeah.
Shout out that bloke. What? He must be fit as anything.
I think I've seen a video of it. Yeah.
Well, it's that game. That was I
Well, it's
reckon
just
that
gone
game. Yeah, he
bonkers.
just
Right,
he kept running down. Alex, you got that wrong.
Oh,
Oh, it was on VAR for you.
Do you know what's
hippie
I can tell you.
This
I
is
had
so
one that
great.
game.
Do you know what's crazy about that? That's like a Saturday or Sunday. Some guys just dedicated 2-3 hours to just chasing you.
But like
That is so
cold that. But it was
No,
so
they don't.
cold
They
that
don't
night.
have
He only had a t-shirt on, and I was just like, I reckon he was clocking up more Ks than I was.
Oh, that was interesting to know. How much do you run a game?
So usually like a quick one will be about 12.
A quick one.
Yeah.
I've
That's
never
a-
run 12 Ks in
If
my
I
life.
pulled out the little stat sport vest thingy majiggy,
That's a midfielder.
I think on the grand final I did 15.6 or something, but we went to extra time.
Wow.
So we had an extra 30 minutes at the end, so it was about 15.6.
Well,
How grueling is your fitness testing and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Well, see, I don't think it's that bad. I actually like, as much as like when I travel a bit and I shouldn't, but I just, piss my time away a little bit on TikTok. I actually saw one of your TikToks about doing the, like your a K in 4 minutes,
Oh yeah.
rest a minute and do that.
Yeah.
I was blowing out of my ass after like, doing that.
Yeah.
Did it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was just weird to just come up.
Yeah,
I was
nice.
like, oh yeah.
It's easy. Yeah.
But like our fitness testing,
As in, sorry, simple to try.
simple.
Okay, so that's
Not easy.
Not easy. No, I was blowing. But like our fitness test with FIFA, like if you want to be a FIFA referee, you have to do a minimum of 10 laps around on a track. You do 75 meters in 15 seconds, and then you got to walk 25 in 18 seconds, and then you do that 4 times in 1 lap. And you do that 10 laps repeatedly.
Really?
But I don't think it's that bad. We just did it in Thailand for AFC, and that was pretty tough doing it there. But like it's not. I don't think it's that hard. Like I actually don't think our fitness demands are that tough, because remember, we're not playing with a ball at our legs. We're not making tackles. So that's why I think players obviously have to be so much more fitter than what we are.
But you're obviously the mental energy that you're using. Like I obviously now being a coach, you have to be the ref in training, and things happen so fast. It's like I've got this newfound appreciation for how difficult it is to see which foot it came off.
Yeah.
And whatever, and get the decisions right.
Tie it to the state fault linos.
Plus, if you're running 15 Ks,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, so so I don't know what, I think there's stats or something out there on how many decisions we might make, and we get more right than when we get wrong, like 1,000%.
Yeah,
There's going to be the ones like, sometimes we just can't see, like, sometimes I'm on this side and I just can't see the holding, or I can't see something.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the tougher games where you are running heat, and you're so focused, like with the grand final, I was so like just focused, and I was like don't stuff it up, I don't want this to be about me, like I just want this game to go well. So you mentally fatigued after as well.
I actually had an interesting conversation with a ref today, and he was talking about the different angles, the perspectives that a fan or a spectator often has better. Well, at some point in the game, there's always going to be a fan that has a better perspective on the challenge or on a touch than what you do.
Yeah,
At every decision.
Yeah, 1,000%. Like there's 4 of us on field, so sometimes you see things, but the hard ones are those ones on the goal line. When it's the sneaky arms and stuff on the goal line.
Yeah.
People behind the goal going, handball. And for us, I can't see unless I'm standing behind. I actually can't see.
Rash. How far can a human see? 70 feet.
Hey, do you know what thing he did? He dropped I know that, Fogel.
Oh yeah, because you wouldn't have been at victory when the kick clash happened, hey?
Kick
The Guido,
kick clash
Guido one. He was a ref.
I was
kick flash. Yes, yeah.
I was the 4th
I wasn't
official.
there.
No, you weren't there. No, because I remember I was saying best come out.
Yeah, that was his debut.
This
Made-
with the
came
same
up-
colour, and I was like, oh, I know that.
Of course, Best coming out yelling at
Yeah.
Ref.
Yeah.
Can you do something?
Yeah, no, that was Fahid, man. Fahid was the same.
Oh,
He was going like this too.
Can we get some insight?
Yeah, probably
What
be
was like-
Fahid first and then Best just behind
Hey,
him.
what was it like officiating Fahid? Because he's one of our close friends. and,
Yeah,
let's say White Line Fever's putting it nicely at times with him.
yeah.
When he
So,
plays.
but someone like Fahid, like I was saying, how I would deal with different players.
Yeah.
Like, so for him, I knew he was a little bit older. So, like, when he went to Brisbane Raw, that's when I refereed him a few more times.
right.
And so I would just sort of be like, how's the best player at Brizzy Raw, 34, 35 years old?
Yeah.
He'd play to that ego.
Yeah.
He sits back and goes, oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
Hard, isn't it?
And that's the sort of guy, he is.
Yeah.
So I just played to that ego. And then, like if I did make a mistake, you could forgive me because I said, it was a bit.
So in your mind, your job is to try and make your day as easy as possible, and getting people on side is always going to help that.
For me, like man management, like
Yeah.
anything I do in life, I honestly believe man management is what makes it. Like I have a carpentry business on the side, and I'm trying to get into do some developing and stuff. And for me, it's all about relationships. All the relationships I can build, I can, for anything in my professional life, on the field, I think that helps.
Can I ask you then, do you have different standards for what you let slide from certain players? Because I have been on the pitch, for example, I have one clear memory. I don't know who the ref was, but it was Mitch Nichols, and we had gone into a challenge.
Shout out, Mitchy.
And the ref had said something to him, and he goes, "Fuck you." Straight to him, like right to his face.
Well, that's a great topic. Yeah,
and he was like,
he's not alone. A lot of
and I kind of understand that with Mitch, maybe you don't send Mitch off in that situation because it's like, oh, it's Mitch.
That's a good point, because the dissent rule has changed now.
It's a great thing. So with the dissent, obviously, like in the A-League, who would hear him say that besides yourself, Mitch, and the referee? Who else would hear that?
Yeah, no one.
So if I go and then pull out a red card, everyone's gone, what's happened? This is a disgrace. And then everything gets turned on to me. I ruined the game. The referee ruined the game. They've sent the player, because Mitch was a very good player. So we see him down Burley at the moment. So
yeah.
he's good, man.
See, sometimes in Melbourne too,
funny,
Mitchy.
man.
He's covering some games off the pitch, hold it. What can I just say? What a player he was, man. I really think he was underrated, Mitch Nichols.
Yeah, I think so too.
Goal
I wish he had
scorer.
stayed over in J1 a little bit longer and tried to really track it out
You've
there.
got privilege to play.
Well, it was probably maybe his best period, that first 5 or 6 weeks at Victory.
Yeah,
Before he went to J League.
Before he was
phenomenal player.
No, he's a good player. But like the way you can speak to some people can be totally different. And sometimes we say, is that dissent or is that just in the heat of the moment?
Yeah.
It's an outburst.
Yeah,
Because
because they feel comfortable, maybe.
Yeah, legit. Like I remember, I won't say who was on the other side, but I had Muskie on my right. And it was funny. I just saw Muskie. Actually, he was coaching against your old team, Inshin. I was going to bring the scarf today for you today. It had Yokohama Inshin. I just forgot to pack it.
Yeah, right.
But it was good to see him because I always rated him as a coach. And he was going at me. I was fourth official. And he was going at me about something, and I was just like, I was like, Muskie, I'm standing where you are, mate. I think he did get it wrong. He goes, well, tell him. I said, okay. I just quickly put my little arm here. You can't see what my mouth is doing. And I was going, yeah. I said, Muskie, he thinks he got it wrong too. He said, give him a chance to get the next one right. All right, thanks, Alex. I said, no worries, mate. But
Referees are geniuses.
No, but I was just saying, that worked.
Yeah,
because
100%.
But see, that worked because I knew someone like Muskie's not someone I'm going to fight with either.
Yeah.
Because as much as he was a hard man on the field, he's a very smart individual off the field, and he does that sneaky little whistle thing too.
Oh yeah.
Does that throw you guys off? We've spoken about it before. For the listeners that don't know, Muskie does a whistle that sounds exactly like the ref's whistle, and players stop.
On counter-attack, right?
It's 100%
My very
true.
first, it was I think maybe my 6th or 7th game in the A-League. I was doing Victory Adelaide United at Amy Park, and it was a big game for me. It was only my 6th A-League game, and I was like, why am I doing this game? Like, this is, it was
Deep
packed. It was packed at Amy Park, and I'm like, oh no. Like, Adelaide coach is like, oh, it's a big game for you. You think you're going to be up for it? And I was like,
Why would you say that to a ref?
John Sepp?
it was, no, it wasn't. It was the German bloke.
Marco Kurz.
Yeah, Marco Kurz.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That's him. But it was, we were running down the line. Adelaide were on the attack, and I just remember this, and I was like, what was that? And everyone sort of stopped, and it was on the counter, and I was like, oh, what do I do here? There's something I have to do. I have to stop the game, drop ball. And I was like, something. It's not my whistle, play on. I just kept going. And I went to my fourth and I said, you go stand next to him and make sure, because I said, I swear it's Muskie. I couldn't prove it though. Like I can't guess.
Yeah, true.
I can't just go and guess.
Genius.
But I was just like, go and stand next to him and make sure he doesn't do that.
Nah,
again.
from now on, the ref, there needs to be no more whistles. It needs to be just a weird, like a, something that they can't.
What would you say the biggest game is that you've officiated? Like in terms of your career, the one you look back on that you've kind of pinched yourself that you were officiating.
Well, the A-League Grand Final.
Yeah, that's
2-3 months ago. That was really cool. That was my first one.
Great
I was
How do you feel going into that? Because like there's a few things with refereeing that must be really difficult when, like, you go back to, I don't know how long ago it was when Ross Aloisi got sent off, I think in the first half of Adelaide versus Victory.
Yeah.
It's probably a red card, but to actually have the bravery to just send him off in the first half, which will change the game. Like those kind of moments,
So-
do you have to prepare yourself for that?
What I always want to tell myself is, okay, what I'm about to do, am I going to have a positive impact on this match or a negative? If it's going to be a negative, like a red card, but this tackle is disgusting, then I'm going to do it. Because then I know, like, I'm right, and it's for the good of the game.
Yeah.
If I'm about to, like there's certain stuff, by me giving a yellow card here, is this going to have a positive impact if it's for a crappy technical, maybe yellow card, maybe not? Is it better for me to save that yellow card? That's the sort of stuff that I like to think about. But before the A-League final, I think we were under a bit of pressure from the, like everyone was a bit anti-refs during the final series, and knowing that I got the app, I was a bit anxious during the week. I just wanted to get the game done. I just wanted to get there, get it done, have no one talking about me, and just everyone being like, yeah, how good was that game? And like, that's all I wanted.
You've had the best game when no one speaks about you. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. The best game, everyone goes, oh,
Who does speak about you when you do have a good game? Because, like, for instance, we're probably not, but I mean, have you got leadership and officiating?
My dad might ring me after and say,
surely,
oh, the commentator
surely you've got your own official team that you guys look back at each other. I mean, there must be those conversations that happen.
Yeah, some of those older boys that I said, like, if you get a message from them, they might say, really well done, or this and that. But we also have to be really careful, because sometimes, we can get stuck in a ref nerd bubble where we go, oh yeah, that's handball, has to be. But the whole world is saying, like, all the public going, there's never handball.
Yeah.
So we got to be really careful, like, where we seek that validation from, I guess. But, like, for me, the best game is when I just get to run around, blow the whistle a couple times, finish it up,
So
head down to Lygon, pizza beers, and that's it.
you said that you loved the fact that you were doing that Melbourne Derby. So what I take from that is, would you prefer to do the big intense games over with no disrespect, like a MacArthur versus Western United, where it's not going to be a massive crowd? What do you prefer when games are, the
Atmosphere.
love the atmosphere. So you love atmosphere.
Like, yeah, you just love when it's bouncing, and like, I don't know what we got to do, but we got to create that safe smoke thing. Flares, I'm all for it. Hey, like when the flares are going,
I
I like
agree.
that you've said that.
Oh, I agree.
adds to it.
Yeah,
like it's so good
I
when you
agree.
just look around and you
part
see
of
flares.
it's just part of the game.
It's just part of it. And everyone goes, oh, like, you know what? So what? Breathe a bit of smoke in.
But it's
Grow up.
Yeah,
It's not even the flare aspect, because I was a terrace member for countless years. My cousin was the drummer, but there was a point where they took away everything: drums, flags.
yeah.
It kills it, man. Like, you need atmosphere. Like, we want to set, like, we can create an atmosphere that the NRL and the AFL cannot create.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
The police
So
presence at the A-League games is insane as well. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like almost more police than
There's
the
a
section to the fans. Like, it's,
yeah.
it's
What do they call
clearly a statement that
what do they call it in marketing? USP, your unique selling point or something?
What? I mean,
It's like unique point of difference we can't use, basically. The difference that we have against every other sport is the fanatical side.
That atmosphere. No one else creates that.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's why I want to go to any of those games. Like, it just doesn't interest me.
Can I just ask you about just going back to the review process and people that you can reach out to see whether you had a good game and that kind of stuff?
Mm.
Obviously, you would review your games with other refs in some way.
Coaches and stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Is there subjectivity in that of, like, for example, that is a red card, but it was the first 5 minutes, so you're correct? And
Yeah, so we are trying to go down a path of like the feeling and the game management. Like, we want to, that's what we're trying to go to. We don't want technical referees. We want, like we said about flow and having an entertaining contest.
Mm.
There will be on some things, but at the end of the day, they still have to, there'll be some unique situations where they might say, you know what, technically this might be handball, but because of what happened, we're okay with play on, or something like that. But at the end of the day, we still need to make decisions, yes or no. But like I said, sometimes we can get so caught in our own bubble that sometimes we may miss the mark on some decisions with what the public are thinking, or what the commentary are thinking, or what the...
Well,
we got to bridge that gap somehow. And like I said, for me, I think, we probably need more education around, like, discussing handball and saying, look, if we gave this in the A-League, would you guys accept this? Is this something you can accept? As a defender, they're always going to say no.
it's interesting what you said
fair,
about
even
it's
fans
interesting
are
what you
gonna
said
say
about
no.
Jared Gillette in the Premier League. Like, they just don't pay it. Like that.
Yeah, well, like if you go through and you have a look at all the handball decisions that they potentially, could have had, we would have given a lot of those here in the A-League. So, each of the leagues you can veer a little bit, and I think Australia, we aren't the number one sport. We have to fight against the other codes, so we need to try and I think we want to try and give less yellow cards, keep more players on the field, have less stoppages, so that that comes back to VAR and more training about us being quicker. It's all.
I wonder this a lot with the handball rule, right? Especially now with VAR, where it slows the whole process down, and you're expected to be objectively correct.
Yeah.
But the rule is still subjective within.
Right? we were literally saying this.
So,
we spoke.
Because I haven't played the game in 10 years. How do I know what is a natural body movement?
Yeah.
When kicking the ball and so on and so on. And you're right. VAR, when we get ourselves into the biggest problem, it's when we slow it down. If
anything slowed down looks worse.
Like, you know what? You could literally slow down a lot of tackles, and you could pause it when it's yellow, and then you could pause it when it's red,
and then pause it when it's nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we actually, for us, when we make some mistakes, it's because we slow things down and we don't play at full speed.
But what I'm asking is, why in the rule do they not take the subjectivity out of the rule? So if it touches the hand, it's handball. There's no subjectivity. If it touches the hand, it's handball.
Because
you'd have 400 penalties in a game potentially. Because it's like hockey, don't they? Like in the hockey, I've been watching a little bit of the so I think if it hits the foot or something, they get a penalty corner or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So that's not like I don't want to change the game because I love.
Well, I did want to ask what if there was anything you would take out or bring in from a rule point of view.
Try and maybe change something with the handball because we give a penalty, we don't give a penalty. Changes the outcome of a game. Promotion, relegation. Obviously, we don't have that in the other league, but there's things that it's such a big decision, and it's still argued about by everyone.
Yeah.
So I go, is there a better way instead of giving a penalty kick, which is a match-changing, it's a penalty kick.
Yeah.
Is there another way we can go? Maybe does it just become an indirect free kick?
Yeah.
Any handball, maybe inside the penalty area, like you said, if it does hit the hand. Okay, make it indirect. So then you still get all your players behind the ball, and then someone probably handball it on the line or something. But
still, you're probably going to score from
the
line of handball.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But maybe you get more chance of 11 players behind the ball instead of giving a pen. That's probably the only thing I would try to look at because it's so subjective, and there's so much controversy around handball. That's probably the only thing I would change. But like I was saying, these guys, they're trying to change it where if you're blocking the ball, it's different to playing the ball. That becomes different. Yeah, and this is, and to make that split second.
It's near impossible.
Well, I listened to a commentator or a pundit or something say it shouldn't be called rules of the game, it should be called laws of the game.
Well, it is laws of the game.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say it to you guys because I didn't want to be that ref.
Yeah.
It's laws.
It's laws because laws can be bent a little bit, whereas rules are more yes or no, black or white.
Right.
So laws of the game is really what it is. It's like, I only heard that I know I've heard laws of the game, but when he put it like that, I was like, that's actually true because nothing is black or white.
It's actually a really good one to use if the players, you want to be a real smart ass to players, you go, it's not a rule, it's a law. But that's really real. So,
and no player will understand what that means.
Yeah, no.
Nah, football's a dumbass.
You come out of that one thinking you've won that battle and you're like, yeah, I'm so good.
So going back to what the boys were saying about after the game, reviewing the game you had and all that, I see it a lot in England. Refs get demoted from the Prem down to the Championship or even the lower EFL leagues.
That's crazy.
Still good leagues, but yeah.
Still great leagues. Still great leagues. But it's imagine how you must feel yeah, mate, you're off to Swindon Town this week because you were fucking shit.
For us, we just go to BCF, man. We're going fishing for next week.
Who decides whether you've had a good performance and you need to have the big games or not?
So it's the ref, the ref coach on your game obviously has to give you a score and stuff. But that's across a few things key match decisions, obviously your big decisions, red cards, penalty kicks, whatever. Match management, control, your fitness and all that. And
who did you say does this?
Our referee coaches. You always have a referee coach on the game.
Okay.
Whether they might not be at the game, but they'll watch.
Are they former referees or are they still active referees?
No, all former referees.
Right,
yeah,
cool.
So former referees, and then you get a mid-year score.
Okay.
And then you get a end of season report card.
Wow.
It's like back to school.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's like school, man. I mean, I'm not. I don't want to brag, but I was 1-1. So
The boys all know. The boys all know. I feel like public opinion as well. Does public opinion come into it?
no, but like,
Because if you're getting berated,
if you're getting berated, yeah. So, like, it's not. Because I've never done the appointment, so I don't know what their thinking goes into it. But obviously we have our 4 full-time referees who are full-time. So we usually get a game every weekend unless we've absolutely had one and we're going to go fishing. But to absolutely have one, man, I
so direct
swear,
fishing or something.
No, I swear it was. I'm pretty sure it was Dello. He signed one of us up to BCF the vouchers, so you get the emails and everything. Yeah, someone did it to us, but I reckon it was me after I had a bad game and all of a sudden I started getting the BCF emails.
Can I ask you, Jerome, if you were a coach and a player was getting berated every week, would you take him out of your team because of the crowd?
That's a good question, Rush, because you know how I feel about certain players. Wait, you're saying that my decision would be purely based off what the crowd thinks?
Like protecting him.
No, just like, let it influence your decision. Maybe he's not playing that well. Maybe I'm seeing things wrong.
Well, thank you for that, because that could be, and I'm pretty sure has been a component from some coaches to protect players when things have happened. So, for instance, I don't know exactly what happened on the field, but when Lukaku was at Chelsea and then he did the interview with Inter, and he goes, I miss Inter, I love Inter. A manager then has to make a decision of, do I play him and let the home crowd boo him?
I'm not saying like that. I'm saying his performance. I'm talking about his performance.
Performance.
And you're saying in my vision, in my perspective, he's playing well enough to be in the team, but everyone else is saying he's shit. Do I take him out?
Oh, okay. If I always wondered, like, so many fans think they know more than the coaches. Like, so many sometimes I have to reel it in and think, hold on, he's spent all week with him, 7 days a week. He's trained with him. He would know better than I do.
But that's because social media has given everyone
A voice.
in the pub
Yeah.
an opinion.
And access to the person.
That's right.
Yes.
So that's where,
It's
the
a
same
different
thing,
world.
right?
Yeah.
It's a different world.
Yeah, you bring it. Yeah, and I don't think it matters. Like with us referees, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, people might just hate that referee because their team lost.
Do you get hate messages? Like, does that happen to you? I know some players do, but does that?
I've only had it once,
Right.
and that was actually after this year when I sent off Nestor for, you know what? I would have loved to have been a little bit more to the right and seen that he was getting held. Okay, I would have loved to have given him a free kick.
Can we made the right decision. Okay, I was in the stadium. You made the right decision, and I heard all the backlash after it. Oh, and I'm like, nah, it was what. Look, Nestor lost it. That's what it is.
Yeah, and then you know what? And the way he behaved after. It doesn't matter if I make a mistake. It's like a player makes a mistake. You can't berate the player. You can't berate me, throw your hands up in the air. This is different. If he had just said, F you, and no one knows, I would have said something back to Nestor,
100%.
and it would have been done.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he made it like so clear there was dissent.
Yeah.
So I turfed him. You know what? At the end of the day, it's a free kick or it's not a free kick. I didn't deserve what I copped for it, and I was getting like, I rocked up just to do a check with the boys on site with my employees, and then they're like, "Oh, you're a racist, Alex." And I was like, "What?"
Is that what the talk was?
Man, there was TikToks, all these TikToks calling me a racist and stuff, and I was like, and then I had some people message, and then like normally I just flick them to me brother, and he goes and sorts it out.
So you guys are the new Rocker Boys.
You know what's funny? When we were looking up refs, we were searching. Most don't have social media, and you had it. We were like,
Yeah, that's good. I think you gotta have a normal life, man.
Yeah, you got to enjoy life.
Post the fishing
Things that-
photos.
Yeah.
but it's also you obviously have a level of resilience to have the guts to have a social media.
I think
account.
that's what's going to take you to the next level too, because ultimately decisions come and go. You got VAR, you're gonna have support. The technicalities, the laws and stuff will change. It's the mentality.
Yeah,
That's the biggest difference.
well, like I said, resilience, man. That's why like any young kid should take up refereeing just for resilience.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like once you cop 3-4 years of abuse,
You used
it's like water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, like it used to get to me when I'd read stuff on social media, and I'd go, oh yeah, like whatever. Like we get to travel, do ACL. Normally there's 6 of us traveling to do an ACL match, wherever it might be. If we go to Korea, Japan,
mate.
we're going to some cool places. We're flying business class. We're with our mates, and I'm going, you know what? This is pretty cool. Instead of swinging a hammer every day, this is pretty cool. And if I get to do that, or someone wants to call me a racist,
Well, Raj,
enjoy whatever you
the
do.
thing was, I saw people saying the whole Victory fan base was racist because they were booing him. And I'm like, come on, man. He's lost his mind and he got red carded. It's what it is. And that was the whole debacle over it. And I can't believe you got messages like that.
And you know what? Nestor is such a good player. Like
He's
some of the stuff I'm seeing on the, like from Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
and he's
scissor kicks.
I got a feeling he's going to get minutes, man. I don't know why.
I reckon he's going to.
I just got a feeling he's going to get some minutes or something. Like companies, the kind of manager that will.
Yeah, I reckon that's the best place for him to go. But you know what? Like, and as much as me sending him off caused a lot of trouble, you know, maybe like I don't know if he takes that on as a lesson, learn from it, because I mean the German refs ain't going to cop that.
No
I'll
way.
tell you that
Absolutely
for free.
not.
Like they're going to be harsher than what we are.
Yeah,
Aussies were laid back.
Do you?
Yeah, correct.
I was reading the other day, Pierluigi Collina, I think his name is, the bald guy, the legend.
Yeah, legend. Yeah.
He was saying that he was watching hours of game footage before games to prep him. What's your prep like?
Oh, it's not that. It's not that. Well, we have access to Y Scout and stuff. Like I think you would. Are you aware of Y Scout and stuff? Yeah.
Oh, I looked at it. It's expensive. I wanted to get it for
I'm
myself.
not paying.
Oh, you're not paying, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you the login. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can look up certain things. But for me, the only thing I really worry about is like, I just look at my key players, the ones that will change games or the ones that are going to cause me the most problems. Like I don't go in there with any preconceived ideas, because at the end of the day, football. Like I know he used to watch this and he said if he does this, you know, the team's going to do this.
Yeah.
What happens if a team goes out, someone jumps in 2-footed and they get sent off after 1 minute? Everything changes. So I like to just sort of go with it and sort of like, as long as I know the key players who I need to sort of work with a little bit more, and that's all I really worry about. I don't worry about too much else.
So what's the whole ordeal or go with coaches walking into the referee's room after a game?
Does that happen?
Does that happen? And do you have any memorable stories of an interaction with a coach? It happens all the time.
Yeah. I reckon ask me that question when I finish my career, because I got a really good one. That's pretty epic. But yeah, they are allowed to. They are allowed to come.
Tell us off it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But they are allowed to come into the change rooms 30 minutes after. So you got to have a bit of time.
Yeah.
Calm down, and then gather your thoughts, and then come in. Because then we also maybe need to see the footage as well. Like I'm all for referees explaining decisions. I'm all for if they put us in front of I actually think sometimes we did it a couple times a few years back. If they put us in front of a camera and we explain why we did something or why we didn't, I actually don't think that's such a bad thing, because then we we actually lead the narrative. Yeah. Instead of things for days and days and days and we could actually kill the narrative and say this is why we did the decision, and instead of everyone guessing and wondering. But then again, I don't know if that just takes the fun out of our game and the discussion that it creates, because that's football.
TalkSport would be out of business.
Yeah, what about the reverse on that? And I don't know about you, but I feel like you kind of, and I don't know if this still happens, but when refs used to come into the players' change rooms before games, like I've never been a fan of that, because you kind of always knew what type of refs you were going to have that day.
For me, that's your space.
Does that not happen any?
Thank you.
No. What was the reason for referees even doing that in the first place? Remember, like there was stud checks, there was little sort of, you know, this is how the standard of the game.
You boys got any earrings?
Some refs for sure. They were still in there.
Oh man, like at the end of the day, man, what I worry about most is what happens when you step on that pitch and we got 90 minutes of football.
Yeah,
I'm not bothered about anything else. Like I don't want to start fights. I don't want to start arguments before I even get onto a pitch.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Metro 7 ref? The A-League ref of the year just lets the game happen. He's not asking a bunch of Sunday League fat footballers if they have any jewellery on or if their skins are the same colour. Just play, man.
Well, you probably would ask if they had jewellery on them.
Oh, no, I don't care. They should. It'll get found. It'll get found. But like, I don't go looking for problems. And plus, the players
at that level.
And the players' space, that is a player's space. Whatever they got to do before a game, if I go in there, they're probably just going to get really pissed off with me. Yeah. So I'd rather just, I'll see them out on the pitch.
Yeah, and you got those leadership credits, they call it, right? Like, if you've gone in and you've told me about my studs and my shin pads and jewelry, by the time I go on the park and you give me one decision against me, I'm like, this guy's an idiot. Well, like he's told me 7 things.
But if someone says to you something about your sock or whatever, and then you get out in the field, and I've already told you, I've then got to do something.
Yep.
And sometimes I think as referees, I don't know how to say it, but like I think sometimes when we do nothing, it's better than something. in certain situations, I go like, if we inject ourselves into the game, like I said, that negative or positive impact. So like stuff like that, I don't care.
Yeah.
So
Bigger things to worry about.
Yeah.
again, Rash said I'm emotional. He's right.
Couldn't tell. Yeah.
But
He's got you on a string, mate. You are playing right back, getting peppered by the ref right now, bro.
no, you just said something that he disagreed with you. So he's got you on a
I've
string.
been sitting here thinking about the minutes every time he said something silly.
Yeah, I'd get a few yellow cards.
How do you keep your emotions in check when, because we're all human at the end of the day, you're not a robot. How do you keep your emotions in check when it's like, this little prick has been giving me the hardest time all game? You know what? Could be yellow, could not be. I'm going to give it. How do you keep those emotions controlled? Or do you sometimes...
Jerome's all around.
Yeah, so Jerome's man management in his left and right pocket. He's just going,
Yeah,
like, he's right
100%.
there, he's going, yeah.
Is that a form of man management though? Like,
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if that's how you want to deal with a match, like I don't think that works
That's not
here in
your
Australia. That's not our way.
Right.
But like it is hard, mate, because like come from, like I said, I was an apprentice carpenter, and then I become a tradesman, and then when people would come up in you and you have a bit of a, I want to put my hammer through the nose, man. Like when on site it gets a bit like that.
Yeah.
What I try and like I do have a little bit of a temper at times, so I actually try and tell my assistant referees, if you think I'm engaging too much and I'm biting back, and I work with the same ARs a fair bit, they'll know when I'm out of character, and then they'll come in and say, Alex, run, get out now, because then. And I use them to get me out of that bubble. Because then if you stay in that bubble and you keep going, that's right, then you might just go like this, or you might pull out the red card and go, uh-oh, like now I've got it out now. What do I do? Yeah.
You don't go...
How do you, just on that one little thing, have you ever made a mistake and realised you've made a mistake and then the players tell you and then you change the decision? Because I feel like a lot of the time like, things happen in games where the ref realises they've made a mistake and they're kind of like, I change it now. Like,
Kind of.
Not-
Can you overturn?
can't.
Can you overturn it once you've called it?
Yeah, you can. If you haven't restarted play, you haven't blown that whistle again, you can always change the decision.
So if Rashid fouled me in the field and you're like, oh, Jake probably dove there, but you blew the whistle for a free kick, but I haven't
For
restarted
that,
play.
I would leave that because for me, like
Because you'd say
if I
Jake
get-
deserved it.
yeah.
yeah.
But like things that happen in between the middle of the field, like for me, that's like if I give a little bit of an average free kick, what's the difference between a player doing an average pass? Like one where there's a turnover. I think I can make my mistakes, the little mistakes I can make in there.
Yep.
If it's a big decision and I'm thinking, and there's something that I don't feel right, I might go talk to my assistant, or they might say, oh, look, Alex, from our view, it was this. So you can always change it. But if I ever have a big decision and I'm not 100, like I don't have all the answers, like say someone jumps into a tackle, I go, uh-oh, he's jumped 2 feet, don't know where he hits him. So already I'm thinking it's going to be a minimum yellow. But I might need some help from my other team, my assistant referees or fourthies saying, oi, he's hit him in the shins, turf him. Like, so you get that in like a bit of information, that missing information from your team. Like that's what we're there. There's 4 of us. We're going to try and nail these decisions. So very rarely, like I might do it for a throw in, maybe, because then, but also if I ever do change it from a throw in, that's my dumb fault because like I said to you guys, players will tell you where the ball went out.
Bro, what
you can
happens at
see.
throw-ins? Why don't people do them properly anymore?
Foul throws, so they just
Oh,
like
who
you just
cares?
can't be bothered giving it. Mate.
on that as well, let him throw it in wrong.
I don't-
Who cares, bro?
I
Let
don't
the
give a
foot-
fuck.
No,
from
I'm
there.
saying I don't
but
see
this
him
is
give it.
fully changed.
You
I
don't
just
see
don't
him
think
give it.
you can give them in the professional.
Do you know what
game,
it
mate.
is?
I thought that was an unwritten rule. Like, just like,
Nah, it's changed,
dumb.
bro. If you watch Prem in the early 2000s, everyone's doing a throw-in properly. Now, it's changed. I'm telling you it's changed. I'm almost certain. And I don't care. I genuinely don't care.
But a lot of people do. A lot of people go, oh, it fell
Oh,
forward.
yeah, people would care. But like,
but then I
now
just ask them why. So why is it a foul? Oh, because okay, cool, and we keep running.
More of the game.
Yeah, but then they say, oh, that wasn't behind the head. No, like okay, cool, and we just keep going.
I don't. As long as the game
Yeah,
gets
but foul
going.
throw is like law 18. They say common sense. I think that's
Yeah.
that's what we try and.
Are there any players that you feel fortunate to have front row seats at the games? Like when like there's obviously a lot of talented players you would have watched, but any that you kind of at times, even as a referee, like this guy's special.
So there was one. There was so I got to do South Korea versus Costa Rica. Where was that in South Korea? I don't know if it was at the Seoul World Cup Stadium or it was at another one. Well, both games I did were in Seoul, and Son was captain, obviously, and like luckily enough, it was just before the World Cup, and one of the Aussie refs they wanted, I think it was Beatty, and they said, no, he can't do it because he's going to the World Cup, can't ref any games before the World Cup that team's going to be there. So they said, oh, Alex. I was like, yes, I'll go. And I had to give a free kick just outside the 18-yard for goalkeeper picked the ball up. I had to send him off. My first international, and I had to send the keeper off. I was filthy with it because I was like, should never have to send someone off in a bloody friendly. I think it's so weak as a referee if I do, and I did it anyway, whatever. And then Son just sort of went over the ball, and I was like, I'm just going to stand right next to it.
Where are you going to put it, bro?
Oh, yeah.
Top
I
left?
was just like, I was like, this is, and I could just tell he's going to go, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to stand right next to, yeah, okay. I was like, you good? He goes, yeah. I said, sweet. And then he hit this thing, just goes top right bin.
And then you celebrated.
I just watched this thing, yeah, and I was just like, I just said to the boys on the game, I said, like, listen around, like, look around. There's 70,000 people, and it was just like they adore that bloke, and it was just insane. Like, there's some, and I did Barcelona when they came here, Man United when they came here.
Nice.
Like Barcelona, that young kid Gabby or whatever.
Player.
Wow.
Special.
Doesn't even do his shoelaces. Have you seen him?
No, he played without his shoelaces on. I was going to say, they're just not doing boys. Yeah.
He's got personality.
Yeah, he's a strange cat. We'll wrap up soon. Is there one specific story that we haven't mentioned during a game, after a game, that sticks out to you that is just absolutely unique or hilarious? Is there one that you're going to tell for ages?
See, like I said, when I retire, there's a lot of better stories when I retire, and I can.
You're giving us some unbelievable stories.
I'm actually shocked. And no disrespect, I'm actually shocked at how open you've been because
you've given us.
I can't say much on that.
No, but the thing is, like, I can have I'm not slamming anything. I'm not going, this is bad. This is it. This is like at the end of the day, we can always do VAR better. We can be better referees. We can do better for this game. The game as a whole can be better. And I think referees, we need to be transparent. Because, we make some big decisions, we change games, we alter outcomes, we have to be honest. And I think if we were to give more insight into refereeing and what it's about, I think we could get a lot more referees on board as well. And I know that it's a struggling thing.
It's a
shortage of referees, but like I said before,
how do we change that? Like, how could if
social
aspiring referees,
social media has to be more.
Maybe we should integrate more with some of these courses that you're saying, just like, and have a bit of banter.
Well, just have just show like we're all normal.
Let's get some VAR and offside decisions. We'd be funny refereeing us three. Like, imagine if someone was a linesman and an official. Have you seen Roy Keane and Gary Neville when they did that?
Gav's not doing it. Yeah. Let's just say he's not.
Nah.
We're not having Gav on lino.
No.
Lino?
I don't know how much. You guys touched a lot on mentality. On mentality.
Ask.
Yeah. Just on. No. I guess your process of, you said resilience is, just go out there 3 years of refereeing and you'll get some resilience. But what's your mental process that you go through dealing with criticism, dealing with making a mistake and stuffing up, dealing with pressure?
Well, so obviously when I came through the ranks, nothing was filmed. So I could make mistakes, I could have howlers, and God, did I have some howlers. And I didn't have to ever worry about it being online and me getting slammed online and stuff. So I think now young referees have it a lot harder. Like, I see it on everything. Like, I know you guys had the AU ballers on, and now even I see they post clips, oh, would you give this a penalty?
Yeah.
Who cares? So like, who cares? What's the players? Don't care about the referee, whatever.
Yeah.
But all this social media, I didn't have that. So I was like, all right, this is cool. I could make my mistakes and I would learn from them in my head. I'd know what I need to do. But, it is good, though, that it is filmed now, because you can see if you did make the wrong...
Review it.
Yeah, you can review it, which I think is perfect. But I just always felt like I worked the hardest. And I said to these guys how I gained the respect when I was coming through the ranks with older grown men and I was 16 was about being the fittest. I wanted to be close to everything, and that's how I would gain respect from people. It wasn't as smooth sailing as, it was just, a ref local league, MPL, fourth officials panel, A-League. It wasn't like that. Like, I got held back. I did 3 years as a fourth official on the A-League, and as much as I was ready. Every year I was like,
That's a long time.
yeah, I was like, put me in the middle, give me a crack, like. And once again, I wouldn't, and I was just like, oh. And then after 2 years, I remember the boss said, nah, not this year, and then he put 3 other referees on, and I just went, and one of them was a really good mate, and I just went, oh, like I could do what these guys did, but I said, you know what, that's fine, all right. That night, I can have a sulk about it and be annoyed about it, but I said, all right. What am I going to do next season? I'm going to referee NPL every week. I'm going to train 5 times a week. I'm going to be... So when I have my opportunity to do a viewing game, there's no chance they can say no to me. And I end up, had a really good game in the Oz Cup. It was South Melbourne versus Edgeworth. And I just had a really, really good game. And I just proved to them that, yeah, I deserve to be on the A-League. Wow. So, like...
And it took a hamstring popping in the 80th minute.
Well, yeah, and then for old mate, Milton to go down and give me a crack.
That's crazy.
But yeah... but you just got to be, you got to be, and that's the thing, you got to be ready for every opportunity because, they might say, oh, you got this game, you got to do a fitness test tomorrow, or because if we go overseas and we do fitness tests, if you don't pass that fitness test, you're on a plane, you go home.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's still, we are held accountable for what we do. But yeah, like mentally, I think you grow that over time. Like, I just think some people have it, I don't know, like they either have it or they don't. But for me, it's hard work over everything because, you have the debate with Messi and Ronaldo. You know what? Messi's probably like a talent. Like, he's a talent. He's a talented footballer. But I like Cristiano because of his work ethic and how hard he works and every day he's at it. Where, and I like to think that that's how I go about myself.
100%.
Hard work.
I think unless you boys have any more, I've got one.
I just wanted to ask what your goal.
Well, that was mine.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself, or what is the pinnacle of refereeing for you? Do you just want to just stay in Australia and focus on the side businesses, or do you have goals of just going straight to the top?
And what is the top to you?
Well, yeah. So obviously, and I think a lot of people, there's a bit of misconception. So obviously, we're a part of AFC, the Asian Football Confederation. So our thing is, if we're not in A-League, we're doing Champions League, whatever the AFC Cup is, and we do tournaments within. So the goal is you want to be one of the top 5 referees in AFC to then get on the World Cup candidates list. Or they might even have 8 or 10 of those now. You get on that World Cup candidates list, and that's, you want to try and get to a World Cup. For me, I think that'd be the absolute pinnacle. My style of refereeing, I'm not sure. I don't know if I would suit that. As much as I would love to get to a World Cup, if potentially I go and try my luck elsewhere, I don't think I would go to England like Jared, because to back yourself, like how much he backs himself and to achieve what he achieved, it's pretty special.
And he cops it.
He does cop it unfairly too.
I reckon you could do it, man. I reckon you could do a prem. Like, if you could get to that level. It is a different world, man. It is, for sure.
I would love to. I would love to give it a crack. I don't know, because then obviously, because I'm a FIFA referee, I would have to give that up.
Yeah.
So I would not be allowed to do international stuff because I belong to Australia. It's a bit harder. It's not like players where they just go, I can go here, and just come back and play for my national team. We don't have that luxury. So, I'm open. If I can't get to a World Cup, I'm open to going elsewhere. The
MLS would be cool. Cool lifestyle.
As long as there's a beach nearby, man.
Yeah.
Like, at the moment, I live on the south end of the Goldie.
Yeah.
I train in the morning. I go for a surf after.
Love it.
All the dogs at the cafe.
How good.
It's a good life. And that's what this is here. And this is what we have to offer here in Australia. We've got such a good lifestyle.
100%.
But yeah.
So you're not going to, so he's not going to.
So he's not going to, yeah.
He's not going to
look cold. Man, it's 3 degrees and I put a jumper on. I've been, I came down, when I arrived here in Melbourne this morning, that's what I was more frustrated with. When I saw it, I was cup appointments and I was like, oh, where am I going? And I was like, Melbourne.
I got to do a fucking podcast.
I was like, I can't handle the cold. I'm such a sook. Mum hugged me too much as a kid or something. I don't know. I'd love to, if I can get to a World Cup, why not? World Cup final. Why can't I be one of the first?
That would be awesome.
First Aussie man to referee a men's World Cup final.
Yeah.
You never know. I'd love to see the Socceroos get to there first.
Yeah.
But if they can't get there, then maybe I can.
We'll take a ref.
Fly the flag.
We'll take a ref.
I'm happy
I'll
to fly
say
the flag.
I'll be like, when was the last time England had a ref to the World Cup final? 2 years ago. Well, guess what? we've just had one now. I'll just take it as an achievement
Just
of mine.
spread the good word.
Spread the word of Alex referees. Anything else, boys?
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Man,
Awesome.
Alex
Pod, man.
King, thank you so much. You were very generous with your time, and we really appreciate it. And hopefully it shines a light on the referee world because, you know, fans really only see one side. So thank you for sharing your side. And, yeah, guys, reel it in. Myself too. Just go a bit easier on them.
Unless we deserve it.
Unless they deserve it. Unless they deserve it. Check my
Unless
Twitter.
they're
You'll
an
see.
absolute howler, then by all means. But yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on and letting me shed some light on refereeing, and yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. Really appreciate you. Suited and booted. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Thank you to Football Victoria and Dan once again. We out.
Beautiful. Nice one, bro.